Hello, good morning, and happy Thursday. I'm Elana with WGSN-DB, Going Solo Network Radio, TV, and Podcast. We are the #1 internet talk network. And today we are going, and of course, my name, hello, is Elana, and I'm your host of Your Health Vibes with Elana. Today we have my beautiful guest, Cece. And the name of the show is Navigating Nebulas, Turning Lemons into Cosmic Triumphs. Okay, I know that's a mouthful, but today is kind of just one of those days that we are just going to go with it. And first of all, I'd want to introduce Cece, and I will let her tell you guys what a fabulous woman she is and let her tell what she does. And then we'll go from there.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Well,
I love you so much.
I am the doyenne of relationship building. So I really am a divorce, dating, and a life coach. So I deal a lot with relationship loss, divorce, transition to dating, single parent support, and helping singles really learn and step into their new lives of being single. And that's kind of what I do. And I also am the owner of Going Solo Network.
Yes, she is.
So we have the Going Solo Media, which is on there. So you guys check it out, goingsolomedia.com. And pretty much everything we do is right there and pretty convenient. So yeah, that's it.
So once again, thank you so much for being here. You really are. Cece's amazing, one of the biggest cheerleaders, motivators, and I'm just so blessed to have you on the show with me today. But I do want to kind of start off with today. There's been just so much going on in the world. Our hearts are heavy, and I just want us to place our hands on our heart, maybe close our eyes, take a deep breath in, and give a moment of silence, of peace, and me sending the love and light out there. So just for a moment of silence, if we could just... All right. Thank you so much for doing that. Also with everything going on, I know, reach out to friends, reach out to people, we're all in this together and you're not alone. And if you guys need anything, I just always put out there that I am here for you too. So on that note, let's talk about navigating nebulas, turning lemons into cosmic triumphs. Well, sometimes when we think we have our story planned out, everything aligned going, and the universe throws that lemon at your head and says, nope, not today, Bob. What do you do? And recently, I've had some trials and tribulations, and just kind of want to talk about it for a quick sec. So a couple weeks ago, I was at Big Sur at a beautiful wedding, trying to be active with Tony, my boyfriend, and my beautiful sister, Stephanie, the day of the wedding. We are hiking. I'm actually exercising, moving and grooving and going with it. And lo and behold, there's this little rock that I did not see. My foot goes to the side. At that moment, I think in my head, oh no, what do? Do you panic? Do you freak out? Then the movie True Beverly Hills, if anybody remembers that one, when they're in the wilderness, and I think it's like Velda hurts her ankle, and then that popped in my head, oh no, I'm going to get carried down. I'm going to ruin the wedding. All these stories that I started to create in my mind. Lo and behold, is it good to create these stories? Probably not so much. So long story short, I roughed it out. I went to the wedding. By the end of the night, my foot was swollen. Didn't really think anything much of it. Oh, it's swollen. It's okay. Next day, got up. I could walk on it. Then 3 days later, it was my birthday. And I'm going to take a time out. I know this is a lot I'm talking, but I'm going to honor myself for the birthday month. I'm wearing a shirt that I've had since I've been 5 years old from my mom's best friend, Linda Doolin, that I do wear. I turned 42 on October 11th. I made a trip around the sun again. And how did I start off my birthday month? Well, because of everything. And, so sorry, backtrack. Long story short, I didn't go see the doctor right away. I went to a special event in Minnesota and I was walking around the airport. I wore my Uggs. I wore flip-flops. I had a dance party. I did everything you're not supposed to be doing. Went to the doctors. And now Elena is in a boot.
Oh, no.
You want to know what happened? Well, let me just tell you, because I'm just going and running my mouth as it is. Mm-hmm. I pulled a bunch of tendons in my right foot to where the tendon almost slipped off. And because I should have listened to my body, I should have listened to myself and gone. Now I get to go to physical therapy for 6 weeks, twice a week. I'm supposed to stay still. I am not really supposed to drive. And I'm trying not to allow it to define who I am, because in my career, that's what I do. I do fitness. I teach with seniors. I teach with cancer patients. And so I'm going to stop myself because I'm just rambling now. But Cece, have you ever been in a thing where life throws you those lemons and, you know, you have to kind of go with it, and instead of being sour, how do you turn it into lemonade?
Well, you know, I was thinking about that when you were talking about how sometimes we just push through, right? Mm-hmm. And that's what you were doing. You were pushing through because it had to hurt. I mean, there's like no doubt about it. All the things that you did on your foot, the pain was there, and it was telling you, stop, slow down, and you weren't doing it. You just kept going. And I think sometimes we do that when we push through. And I think I do that a lot when situations happen that are not, you know, the best for me. But then sometimes I think, you know, when I was thinking about what you were saying, I thought, you know what, there's sometimes when you got to stop and take a pause, you know, and really evaluate where you're at, what you're doing, and do you need to make a change? And you should have taken your pause a lot earlier, little girl, but and you might not have been in this boot, but you know, you never know. But you know, I'm glad that you did go to the doctor and get it looked at. But it's like that type of thing is you just kept pushing through, and sometimes we don't. We have to stop for a minute and say, wait a minute, what's happening in our world, and what are we doing? Are we creating the havoc ourselves? Are we, you know, is there something we could be doing better, or you know, is it just life itself that throws us a curveball and we just have to catch the ball and push through? So yeah, that was just my thoughts on it.
I love your thoughts on it, and I agree. I think this is a life lesson that's saying, stop, take a time out. But I think with society, we have to do it all. Like, and wanting to show up for everybody else, where I need to show up for myself. How am I going to help my clients? How I'm going to be there to show up for this person? And what this has really taught me and humbling, I feel like I'm always the cheerleader for everybody. Anybody gets hurt, anybody needs it, I do it because I want to. But in this time, I think it's something to show me that it's okay to receive. I don't want to ask someone for a drive to pick me up because then I feel it's going to put them, but in reality, I would do it. And not because I would do it that I feel like it's a deserve to have it back, but it's nice to be reciprocated back, because I think with you, Cece, you are the most giving, loving, you do so much for everybody and you show up for everybody. And once again, showing up for me today means so much to me. But do you see that too sometimes in a pattern that it's hard to ask for help or learning to ask for help? Have you been in a situation when you needed that extra help, you didn't want to, but what pushed you to be like, okay, I deserve to ask for help, and being there and showing up?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you can't solve all your problems, you know, and you need, you know, for me, I need to sometimes hear somebody else, you know, like I'll talk to them about what the situation is and then get their response back from it. And then I find that, you know, am I going the right path? And sometimes when I hear them, I realize, maybe I do need to think about this a little bit more. Maybe I'm not really going the right way. And then again, you know, take a pause, or do I need to move forward or be more aggressive or whatever? I mean, Life right now, and all that we're going through is very, very challenging for many, many people out there. The economy is tough. Things are happening. Things are moving faster than what we can, technology, what we can keep up with. And so there's a lot of things happening. But the reality is that that's going to happen with us or without us, right? And
Very
so we
true.
have to choose to be in the game. We have to choose to go ahead and step forward and just do the best that we can do. And so I think rather than, beating ourselves up sometimes, I think we just need to say, hey, you know, I'm in this. I'm going forward the best I can. Maybe I am not making all the right decisions, but at
Right.
least I'm making a decision, and I'm going forward in it. And my grandmother used to always tell me that U-turns were made for me. And I, because I took her one time, I'm from Florida, right? So I took her up north and I drove her up north. And I used to, and back in the day when we didn't have GPS, we didn't have, we had a map, and she's trying to read the map, and she's, I don't know, she was probably in her late 70s then or whatever, and wasn't reading so well. And so we would miss our exit, then we'd have to turn around and go back again. And she used to tease me and say, U-turns are made for you. And then I started thinking, and I thought, you know what? Absolutely. Because in life, I've had to make many U-turns. I've had to turn around and do something over again, or I've had to stop and evaluate where I am and make a pivot, as I'm moving forward. And so I think we're going to have lemons in our lives. We're just going to have them. And
Right.
so it's really how we choose. We can, that old saying, we can either make lemonade or we can, have sour lemon. So it's kind of up to us. So how do we go about that process, that mindset? And like you said, maybe we have to begin by saying, hey, we need a little help along the way. I'm the worst for that. I will tell you, I was dating somebody, and he always said to me, you will never say when you need help with something. You never will let me help. And he wanted to help. And I just, I was like, try to be independent and, all this kind of stuff. And so, I mean, I think sometimes we do have to ask for help, because not only do we maybe need the help, but maybe somebody really truly wants to help us.
Yes. Actually, I love how you said that, to kind of bounce off of that. That's so true, because sometimes, like, my language, I love to help others. I love to do. And so knowing that you can serve someone else, and know that feels good for you too. So I agree. It's allowing someone to show up for you when you show up for others. But was thinking too, where do we get this of like, we have to do it all? I feel like we're like the wonder, is it society? Is it, from this, or each generation is different as, evolving, talking to my grandma and what was expected from them. And then my mom's generation, and then my generation, feeling that. So I totally feel with that. And also having that compassion, because sometimes we put that blame, but that's all we know. So it's like, that's all my grandma knew to teach my mom, all she knew to teach all I knew. So to have that more compassion, you're right, for ourselves, of I didn't do it all. I had to ask out. Or you know what? I think we have a hard time just sitting in our, just sitting and accepting, like, you know what, Elena, for 6 weeks, you're not going to be able to do what you did, and you're going to have to accept it. And you know what? Maybe it's the universe telling me there's something bigger coming, but just to have grace, sit, and hey, I can catch up on some TV shows I wanted to see, or do something that I read a book, or, reach out. I have more time of that. We're not having to do everything, because my mind is telling me, leading more with the heart than the mind of like that squirrel running in it.
Yeah. I think sometimes too, when things happen to us, it's maybe because it's not necessarily the path that we're supposed to be on. And we don't realize that, because I do believe that I think our lives are already designed, and like many, many times I've said often that, God will open the door for me, but what do? I try to climb through the window. I mean, it's like, okay, the door is open. No, Cece, wake it harder on yourself and climb through that window, get scraped up as you're going along. But I think that sometimes when things do happen to us, that's why it's so important for us to back up a little bit, take a bit of a breath, and really try to analyze and look at our situation, because are we being shown that maybe what we're doing isn't effective, it's not working, or maybe we're being shown that we need to take another path with something. Maybe there's something else out there that we need to grasp, and maybe that's what's happening to you now. Maybe you're being told to slow down a little bit so that you
Right.
can enjoy life a little bit, and bring others along with that in a different way. And so,
Right.
yeah.
And
Mhm.
I love that you say that. Thank you for that. And that, because it's hard to kind of look in from a different, when you're on your path and your lane and someone looking in different. And I do agree with that kind of, and maybe being an example to someone else, someone who's always going, going, going can show like, I can sit here. That's another a funny thing you say that, because my foot doctor, my dad had a little foot thing happen and he could have had a boot or something like that. And so my dad says to the doctor, why did you give Elena a boot and not me? Joking. He goes, because I know the Feldmans, they cannot sit still. So at least you have something on it to really like show you, another way to, and I think it's society because too, it's like our brain, we think we have to go to be successful, and that doesn't define us, and allowing that to not be our story of what you said too. We have a choice. I have a choice how I want to show up. I have a choice of being a victim. I have a choice of how I want to do it, but also having grace. I can have a good day and I can have a bad day, but know that there's tomorrow, because
Yeah.
tomorrow's not promised,
I like that. I like that. And I like that idea of giving ourselves grace, because we don't do that. And I think women today, we tend to think that we have to do it all. And
Right.
we shouldn't feel that way, because a lot of men in our lives are fixers, and we have to allow them to fix things, and
Mhm.
not think that we have to do it all and be superwoman, and because it's not easy on with that cape on.
No, no, it really isn't. And I love that you say that we can admit it. I think it's just putting it out there. So many people think like, oh, I'm alone or do. But what I love about you is that you are very vulnerable. You tell it how it is, and you get what you get online and offline. I think so many times we're trying to portray, or we look different online, like, oh, she's great on paper, blah, 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 blah. And then you talk and it's like, blah, blah, and it's like, what? So I think people need to be more authentic, need to be more open and not be afraid. We're so afraid right now of the world judging, or even I have a friend like, don't come over. My house is like ugly, or I didn't wash this. And it's like, excuse your language. I don't give a shit. As long as I get to see you, I could care less. We could be surrounded by trash. We could be. And so I think people don't realize it's the energy. I don't care what you look like. I care about you. And I think
Right.
that's the difference. We're so into the materialistic of my house isn't good. This is not clean. My child's going to act up. If you're real and raw, who gives a shit? You're showing up for each other. And that's what is a beautiful thing. But when we put on this facade because we're so afraid of society and what we're doing, then I think it's so hard to navigate. And then you turn into a sour puss, sour lemon.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And I've been in this business, in the podcasting, and now we do the TV and all of that for so long that I started into it when there was just nothing, and now we're growing like crazy. And it's just it's just different, but I've realized that I'm just the same, the same person. And so, I live just like everybody else. I live from, on a dime and try to slice it 1,000 different ways. And a lot of it is because, I want something more in my life,
Mhm.
And so I think that, and so I invest a lot into the business itself, but I think that we all need to do that. We need to have something and want something more in our lives,
Right.
Yeah.
I do agree with that. And to look forward to more of what it is, and
Yeah.
as I said, you know, there is a lot going on with what it is, but it's how we choose to show up, how we want to respond, or do we want to react? And I
Mhm.
think that's a big thing of learning and growing is the response that we're giving nowadays. I feel so many people are reacting than taking that breath of responding, or taking things personal when it's not. Reach out, ask the question, show up, don't create that story and assume, what is really going on.
Right, right. Yeah, I mean, I just think that what would the world be like if we didn't have, stepping stones, right?
Mhm.
What would it
Right.
be like if everything was perfect and it was easy and it was like glass that you're just, it's smooth and everything is wonderful? It's not. I mean, it gets mucky and muddy and,
Right.
it gets a little bit crazy, but those are the times that challenge us, that
Yes.
really make our characters of who we are. Can we pivot? Are we, when things happen in our lives, can we make a pivot? Can we say, okay, this isn't working. All right, let me try it this way. Let me do this, and
Right.
go that way. And the reality is when we do that, then we find out other doors open for us, other
Mhm.
things open for us.
Yeah.
We're able to, maybe redirect our focus, and things can happen in a whole different way. And then when it's successful, we sit back and go, "Ooh, what's that?" That might
Right?
have been challenging, but rewarding too, you
Yes.
know?
I love that
Yeah.
you say that it is rewarding. And I think the outcome of what it is, it's like you have a choice. And I love that you say that too. And I think too, we focus so much on just light, 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 but embracing the darkness. Because if we don't embrace the darkness, nothing's perfect. So we look like, oh, I'm so perfect, everything's fine. And then, not. But embracing the light and dark, because that is the care that, the darkness, not in a negative way, can bring out what is maybe the roadblock, or it can help you pivot more and not create that story of what's going on.
Yeah.
So,
Let's talk a little bit about, because when you were saying that, it made me think that we have like intuitive skills, right? And
mhm.
I know myself, I'm going through a period of change now. So I'm actually, relocating a little bit for a short time and kind of refocusing a little bit. And, and I fought that. I was fighting that and fighting that and fighting that. Then I realized that if I listened to myself, I knew the answer of things that I
Mhm.
needed to do. And so
Mhm.
we don't do that. We don't listen to ourselves.
No.
And so let's talk a little bit about those, because I think, your whole show is about vibration, right?
Mhm.
And that
Right.
is a vibration, when we
Mhm.
have these intuitive skills within us, and everybody has those. Like, do I want to go turn right or turn left? Do I want to do these things? And sometimes we'll say to ourselves, oh, I should have done that. I knew I should have did this, but I didn't do
Yes.
it. Right.
Coulda,
And so,
woulda.
yeah, let's talk about that a little bit, because I think if people home in on their intuitive skills a little bit more,
Mhm.
they'll know the sense of direction that they need to go.
Yeah, I love that. I do agree with that, because I think so many times it's hard because we don't trust ourselves. So it's exactly trusting ourselves in the intuition, which that's a great thing to talk about, which I'm really working on myself. Deep down, I know my intuition. I know it's good. Or even when I'm meeting people, like, how do you know? And it's like, I just know. Like, there's no words, there's no rhyme or reason. Like, sometimes your intuition is so strong that you do have to go with it and trust it. And I think that's such a beautiful thing, is trusting yourself and showing up knowing that what it is your intuition, that not necessarily everything is right what you're saying, but it's saying, showing up for yourself and trusting that instinct of what you said. And for instance, I knew my foot was hurt. I should have trusted my instinct. I denied what it was, and then doing that. So the next time, I think having that, trust my intuition and go for it. It's kind of like on a test. When you change that answer and then you get it wrong, you're like, I knew it was the answer. You're so insane. I don't know if that's happened to you. If
Yes,
you
many, many times. I took the Florida real estate exam,
Mhm.
and that's what they said. When I took the class, and then you have to take the court, take the test, and they said,
Yeah.
whatever you do when you go in and you take the test, if what your first response, go with that one.
Right.
That's your gut instinct. Go with that answer, because maybe there's something back in that you did listen to when you were able to get. And if you change it, they have said many, many times, if you change your answer and go with something that's different than what you originally thought, that it was wrong.
Right.
So yeah, they would say that constantly in the class. So yeah. So I thought, okay, I'm going to listen to them, because they obviously know what they're talking about. But yeah, but it is true in life, really.
Right. And
Yeah.
what has helped you to trust your intuition? Have you felt like growing up, I always felt I was different and I had like a special gift or pulling things out of someone or, acknowledging that. It's not necessarily the word scary, but, learning your gifts and what made you learn your gifts or really put yourself out there to say, I don't care what anybody thinks. I'm going to trust myself and trusting this intuition. What did it change growing up or the older you got on whatnot?
Well, I'm a firm believer that if something comes in front of you, to take advantage of it. And like, for instance, when I first started doing the podcasting, right, it was, doors just kept opening for me. And I was scared to death because, it's not something that I thought I could do, nor be in front of a camera. And I'm just a normal person. I'm not glamorous. I'm not, I'm just me,
You're
right?
I'm
thinking, but the one gift I have, which I know I have, is I have the gift to gab. And I remember growing up, my mother would always say, please don't talk so much in school. I know you like your friends, but don't talk in school. Just pay attention. Pay attention in class and sure enough, every class I went to, they go, she's a wonderful girl. We love her personality, but boy, she's talkative. And here I am.
That's why we get along. It's so hard for us to even get off. Like, even we're trying to discuss, like, it's like 2 hours later.
I know, really. It's true. So, so that I would say blessed, although my parents didn't think I was blessed with it.
Yes, you are.
But anyhow, so, I think that's it. So, I think that when something comes in front of us, that we should take advantage of it because it's an opportunity for us. And so often we don't look at it like that. I do think that we have to analyze things because not everything is perfect.
Right.
We have to make smart decisions, but when something keeps showing up time and time again, it's because that's the path that you're supposed to go on, that you're, again, trying to climb through that window instead of go through that door.
I was going to say that, with that of trying to, do something different, or if it shows up, or I'm big about numbers, or I like calling my angels or my ancestors, we're seeing like yesterday I kept seeing 444, 444. And I was like, yes, universe, like, thank you. Or, showing up. But I agree, do you, when you see this, does it sometimes, people I think don't listen to themselves, like, okay, universe, I asked for your sign and boom, it's in my face. Boom, it's in my face. And then but acting on it. I think so many times we don't act on our intuition. So it's like, what it is. So is there ways that you can suggest someone like acting on it and not be afraid of their gifts or what they're seeing?
Yeah. Well, what happened to me recently is I have to move. And so I've been looking for other places and they're very, very expensive. And so I did find this place and I thought, okay, not quite what I wanted, but it's, it'll do. I can manage with it. So as I decided to go, and I called her and told her I was going to be coming to make the deposit and everything. So I'm in the car, and the closer I get, the worse I'm feeling. It's like I'm just feeling so bad about, it's like, oh my gosh, and I just knew that this was not the right thing for me. So I pulled over, side of the road, out of the blue, pulled over, and I made a phone call, and I talked to my son about it. And then I realized this is just not what I should be doing right now. I need to take a pause here, Yeah. And so when I did, I called her up and I told her I was no longer going to be taking the space. She got very mad at me and whatever. But when I hung up the phone, there was 222.
I just got the
like,
exactly.
I know. And it was like, you know what? I know that I shouldn't have taken that. I just know now. But because I was like a good hour, maybe 45 minutes away or something like that.
Right.
And the closer I got, the worse I started feeling,
Wow.
And it's like, yeah. So I just think that we do have to listen to, now I don't know what my future is going to turn out now. I have no idea. I'm trying to figure this all out myself, but,
life.
yeah, so whatever, but, so I've taken a bit of a pause on that and I've gone in a little bit another direction and, and I think it will work out, but if it doesn't, I'll cross that bridge, when I get there. But I know that what I was going to be doing then was not really what I should be doing. There was, my gut was telling me, no, don't do this. Yeah.
And I love how you really listen to your gut and how your body like change, and I think so many times we wonder, we go somewhere, you're getting an environment, my hands start to sweat, or I get sweaty, or I feel this uncomfortableness. And it's like, why are you feeling like this? Are you listening to yourself? Are you pushing forward? So I think it's, if it were me, like a lesson that I've learned is really, truly honing in and listening to your body. Why am I feeling it? Why am I in this crowd having sexual anxiety when normally I'm a people person? Or, so I think I'm so proud of you listening to yourself. And for the lady to get mad, like, who does that?
I mean, she was probably really disappointed, and I know that she needed the money too, but neither here nor there. I mean, I was just to the point where I was almost sick, as I was.
To talk more on that, I think that is so crazy that our body really shows a physical symptom when it's really saying, listen, here I am, like, really, here's your sign, and we just put it aside. So I think being present and accepting what it is and knowing that, and also too, I think we don't want to hurt someone else. You don't want to, you want to show up and this, but in reality, what I'm learning, it's kind of like when you're flying and you have to put on your mask first, even though you have a child. As much as you want to put that on, you're not going to be able to save your child unless you put on yours first. So I think too of just like that, like you need to breathe before everybody else can, and then you can fully show up too, as well.
Yeah, that's so right. I mean, I think the vibration, the energy level, it's all of that. It's like you said, you get sweaty hands. My forehead was starting to perspire. I had the air conditioning on. I'm thinking, I was thinking I was starting to have a little bit of a heart attack or something, or go through an anxiety attack or something. But then, and then afterwards, I felt so relieved, and then I saw the tutu, and I knew the confirmation there was like, yes, you did the right thing. And now I'm not saying that everything that I'm doing is probably the best thing in the world. It might not very well be, but we just have to kind of roll with the punches and try to see what life has. But here's the thing is, if we close ourselves off, right, from new opportunities, new experiences, maybe even walking on the edge a little bit, if we close ourselves off from that, what is our life really going to be? I mean, we can't lead a life to where we're on this, rigid traveled road, because it would be boring. It would be.
It would. If everything was black and white, where are we going to go? As what you said, what I like in the beginning, nothing's perfect. And, we can't show up and have like these pretty rose colored glasses that we see. We need to see it. We need to see putting ourselves in someone else's shoes, showing up the way that we can, and trying not to judge or project our stuff onto someone. I think sometimes that happens. It's we're fearful for someone else, and then we're projecting on them. But to just say, you know what? That's scary for me, but I'm glad you can show up that way, or learning from someone else opposed to, projecting any insecurity of that.
Yeah, I totally agree. And it is true that if you can look at someone else and see, I mean, you might not be at the same parallel path that they're in, right? You may not be doing the same thing they're doing, but you can understand that life takes twists and turns. And sometimes, we just have to have ourselves open enough to be able to, catch maybe something that's coming across to us or whatever. Because I truly believe in that vibration, that energy, that, the life that we're on, the path that we're on. And so I think your cosmic triumphs are great. I think it's a great idea. I think it's exactly the way it is and the way it should be. And why do some suffer more than others? I have no idea. I mean, I have no idea why they have to take the path that they're taking, that they've been chosen to go down that difficult road. I don't know why people have to endure things that they endure. But I do know that when there's an opportunity for you to make a change, a shift in your life, to pivot, to do something, that we should take advantage of it. We should go for it and not let our fears hold us back. I mean, I was asked one time, what is the biggest biggest problem in dating, or the biggest thing that holds you back in dating? And it's fear.
Mm-hmm.
It's fear of really letting yourself go to not only get out there and date, but to also allowing your heart to be open enough for someone to, come in and connect with it. And so often, people are afraid to do that because they're afraid of what they're going to lose versus thinking about all that they can stand to gain.
I love that you say that. And that's so true, because we always think the worst, or always, people always, assume this or that. But it's that fear that gets us in our way, where it stops us in showing our true selves. Or I think we're afraid of being exposed of our true selves, or loving someone, or one more thing I've experienced is, when you're in a relationship and you've given so much love and they haven't had that before, they kind of pull away and trying to show up a different way. Because I think you kind of made it. Someone had told me kind of, we sign up for what we want in this world. We ask for the contract. We ask what we want to show up and what we can do. And it's like sometimes people ask for more than this or that, but I agree with you. It's like what we're showing up, our contract, and who we are, and what vibe and energy we want to give to it, and trusting our intuition and us as a being,
Yeah, I agree. And so, rather than think a negative thought that what road you're going down at the moment is horrible, I always say to myself, what can I take from this? What can I learn from this experience? Whether it be positive or negative, what stepping stone am I, taking from here? What can I do? And as a little girl, I used to pick up rocks all the time and put them in my pocket, right? I don't know why. My mother used to always tell me, I don't know why you're the only one that I have to check your pockets to see what rocks you pick up. Why I pick up rocks, I have no idea. But I do know that it, I think that it's the road traveled, right?
Yes,
So
I love that
I think I collect those rocks to remind me of the road traveled and where I'm going to be able to go to,
Right.
So, yeah.
And I love it. And there's all sizes of rocks and all shapes and all energy. Yeah. And so I think that's a beautiful kind of analogy too. It's like, there's not just one, there's not one, and that's what makes it special. There's not one. There's one Cece, there's one Elena, like you, that's like your quality, you're special, there's one type of rock for everybody and every, thing. It's not just one. And so I love that you say that too. And also, as what I said, it's when we're talking about the energy and vibe, people always think, from the new year, you got to change it. You got to do this. It's how you want to show up. And as I said, having that grace of, you don't always have to be on the high. And it's okay to say, you know what, today it's not my day. And that's okay. You don't have to be on. I think we always think we have to be on. And when someone sees us off, there's that judgment that goes in, but trusting your intuition, I'm okay where I'm at right now. This is my lane and I'm going to stay in it.
Yeah, I mean, we have to have those Hallmark moments, I call them. I just want to sit around and watch Hallmark movies.
I love Hallmark movies. Yes, I cannot wait for
that happy ending. I want that happy ending. so I have my Hallmark moment. But we all need something to kind of get us through and to shoot for and strive for and that kind of thing. And so, I don't know, life deals us all kinds of cards, and what we want to do. And when you were saying about my mom used to say to each one of us kids, well, they broke the mold when they made you. You're an original, And I used to, I'm like, what? When she'd say it when I was little, I was like, what's she talking about? Broke the mold. I don't, that's where babies are from. They, you were molded. I mean, I didn't really understand what she was saying.
Right.
But I think what she was trying to tell us that we're all unique in our own way. And, I guess when it comes to, experiencing life and problem solving and things like that, we're all different in how we handle things. And so,
and we're all a piece to the puzzle. Everybody wants to be the CEO, but I love it. We all are a piece that we can unite and grow together. And speaking of that, I know we need to kind of wrap up, but I felt called today. I have these wonderful spirit animal oracle cards that are just super beautiful. And I just felt really called today to pick a card for the collective. So
Yeah.
do a little card reading. They're so pretty too. Just, I really love, what it is. And it just basically says, the spirits residing in the natural world have much to share, and the secrets of their forgotten language are now available to you. So whatever resonates with whatever card I pick, is what the universe wants. But I just wanted to kind of show for people who can see, they're just really beautiful cards that just really nice energy. So, all right. So if everybody is watching or listening or close your eyes and ask the universe, kind of not necessarily a question, but if there's something that you're thinking of or could relate or, want to know. And I'm going to have you take a deep breath in and release. And one more deep breath in and release. All right. Now, let me do my magic. Ooh. So we got number 22, Dragonfly Spirit, which says truth transcends illusion. Ooh, so
what does that mean? And I will tell you that I used to collect dragonflies. I had dragonfly rug, dragonfly.
Oh my god!
Yeah, I used to have a whole bunch. I've gotten rid of a lot of it now, but yeah, I used to do a big one.
More crazy that. So I'm going to show you.
That's beautiful. That's a beautiful card.
Beautiful energy. So the message is, Dragonfly Spirit is here to remind you of the wisdom and truth available at all times in hidden realms. Just a dragonfly catches your eye with the reflective wings and body. Dragonfly Spirit appears to you to tell you to pay attention to the truth beyond the illusion and recognize the insights that come seemingly out of nowhere, peeking through from behind the veil. Dun, dun, dun. In the realm of the spirit, there is far more wisdom than you can perceive with your senses, and there is a deep knowing that you are not separate or alone from higher power that recognizes you and loves you beyond measure. Fears dissipate as you realize you are embraced by the nurturing force that is everywhere and always communicating within you. Aligning when you are preoccupied, Dragonfly Spirit offers this message. You exist in the unity with all, including the protective spirits who share their wisdom, and you are being nudged along the path your soul needs to travel to the experiences that it craves. Loves exist in many forms, and sometimes we overlook and when we don't recognize it in a particular form. Trusting your instinct. Pay attention to the signs now. They remind you that each of us have inspired dreams that were sewn into fabric of the invisible world, and there is a great consciousness that exists in seemingly empty spaces, guiding us on our journey. Open to the truth, letting the wisdom of hidden realms inform you, providing you insights of your conscious mind that it overlooks. Woo!
Wow.
So, I mean,
that hit home for me.
Did that not hit home? So anybody take that, whatever it resonates. If you want me to I can give you what it is again or send something. But I mean, resonates. Dragonfly, number 22, which is a great number, showing up and seeing, trusting ourselves because we are loved and we are seen. And I just want to say, I honor you guys. I see you. I love you. And I'm here for you. And I think that with that, I just want to say thank you for being here today. And thank you, Cece. Cece really has shown up. She's amazing. My first, as I always say, first podcast, I had an anxiety attack. This one I almost did, even though I knew it's great. But I just want to say thank you. It really just means the world that someone can show up for me the way that you have. And I see you and honor you and just Cece rocks.
Oh,
And
thank you. That's very nice. So you guys make sure that you email Elana. It's ef11ca@gmail.com. If you want to give her a call, it's 562-235-8410. And check out our website, yourhealthvibes.com. Yourhealthvibes, plural.com. So check
and
that
for
out.
Cece, how can they check you out and see you?
Yeah, the Going Solo Network at gmail.com. And then right here on our station, goingsolomedia.com. Check it out. We've got wonderful hosts and guests and all kinds of topics and all kinds of shows. So definitely check that out. But
All
wonderful.
right.
This was a great show. I'll come on anytime.
Yes, I always love you on here. So let's have you back again very soon. Thank you so much. And everybody have a beautiful rest day. If you need anything, I'm only a phone call away. I love you all.
Okay, bye everyone.